My Hebrew brothers and sisters, the 12 tribes of Israel scattered all over the earth, welcome back. This is your Moreh Yeshua Ben Uriah Israel, and we just want to take this moment to thank you for your subscriptions, thank you for your likes, thank you for your comments, and also, as I always say, most of all, of anything else, do thank you. Thank you for your prayers. It's been a while. This thought been on my mind about saying something about Semitism and anti-Semitism. Because way back, I learned that Semitic was not talking about people, it was talking about languages. I remember when I was in college, we had students from different countries that were in that class. And two of the big words that were going around at the time was egocentrism and ethnocentrism. Everybody is better than everybody. Oh my goodness, it was something. We had those, especially coming from some of the African countries and those from the Caribbean islands. Everybody's country was better. Everybody's country was better. All the people were, and so it was something egocentric. Is you egocentric? Are you ethnocentric? And the language that you speak, if you were speaking one of those languages, that in ancient languages especially, that comes in the family of the, Semitic language family. If you're speaking one of those, then some people would even take it a little bit further, and extend it. But my brothers, my sisters, let me say this. I learned over the years that Semitism does not have to do with race of people. It has to do with the language. Okay? Because you can be Anglo and speak a Semitic language. You can be Chinese and speak a Semitic language. You can be African American, speak a Semitic language. You can be, East Indian and speak a Semitic language. Listen. So it's a family of languages. Okay, and we're going to talk about some of that today because people are so confused, and they get real uptight, and you start talking, and sometimes, we take things out of context, and we make them more than, they should be, okay? But let me say this, my brothers and sisters, that the Semitic language of family consists of dozens of distinct languages and modern day dialects, but the major Semitic languages are, listen to me, the major Semitic languages are Arabic, Amharic, and is spoken in Ethiopia, okay? Tigrinya, spoken in Ethiopia and Eritrea. Okay, and we continue, we talk about Hebrew, the language Hebrew. Hebrew is not just spoken in Israel. Hebrew is spoken, and Hebrew and Tigray, T-I-G, some people say Tigray, okay, is spoken in Sudan, and also Aramaic spoken in Lebanon, it's spoken in Syria, it's spoken in Israel, it's spoken in Iraq, and also in Iran. All right? We have what they call the Maltese language, which is also the oldest Semitic, is the oldest Semitic language, right? And so we don't want to take side, of who's better and who's not better. We just talk about what the language is all about. So when we talk about the oldest Semitic language, what is the oldest Semitic language? The oldest Semitic language. What is it? Semitic languages were spoken and written across much of the Middle East, that we call Middle East today. Sometimes, after they cut that Suez Canal, they turn it to Middle East, but it's basically Africa, North Africa, and part of Asia. Okay, part of West Asia and so. But so we say that the Semitic languages were spoken and and written across much of the Middle East, and what we call the Middle East today, okay, and Asia Minor during the Bronze Age and also the Iron Age, and so the earliest attested being of the East Semitic Akkadian. My brother, these people were dark-skinned people, black people, if you want to say black, because the world is saying black, they're not saying dark brown, okay? But these people were black people, okay? And they were of Mesopotamia. They were the Akkad, okay, the Akkad people. Okay, sometimes they're referred to as, burnt face. I remember a couple of years ago, I was teaching for Golden Gate Seminary, and it was an extension in Vacaville, Florida. Vacaville, California. Oh my goodness, to go from California from Florida, you talk about 3,000 miles on. Okay, but so anyway, I remember we were meeting at I think we had an opportunity to meet at two churches. We were meeting in Vacaville, and one of them was like the First Baptist Church, okay, and the other was another. First Baptist was basically an integrated church. I was a member of that church for a couple of years too, and then there was another Anglo church. We'll meet at First Baptist on Monday night, and then the other church was Tuesday night. But anyway, at the First Baptist church, one night we're dealing with the Old Testament. I was teaching Old Testament, and I like to do my research, and I like to see what the Hebrews said about a certain thing, and so anyway, we were talking, and when we get to this point, that dealing with the people of Akkad, the Akkadians, I talk about them, and a lady in the class, she started acting real uneasy, uncomfortable. And after a while, she just picked up her, her bag and her books and everything and packed them up. I could see her putting them together, and she just, with this kind of certain look at her face, and I'm not going to take any more of this. I'm not going to take any more of this. And she left because I found out later that she believed that only white people or Caucasian people were in the Bible. Okay? And here I am considered a black person, a black man telling her, something that she believed and she was taught, differently. Okay, anyway. But I'm just trying to tell you right now that what I was trying to say here is that the Semitic languages is not talking about Semitic people. If you speak the languages, then you can say Semitic, but it does not mean that does not tell you that's your race, because anybody who speaks those languages, you know, can be Semitic. If you speak one of the Semitic language, it doesn't matter if you're white or you're black or whatever, Chinese or Indian or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. But anyway, the Akkadian people of Mesopotamia, they were Akkadian, and listen, they speak Syriac, Syriac, okay, the Assyrian people, the Essenic people, the Lassian, and the Babylonian, they're from the 3rd millennium BC. These were people that speak those Semitic languages, okay, and a family of Semitic languages. So we talk about people in West Asia, North Africa, Horn of Africa, Africa, Malta, we talk about like the classification, Semitic classification, people, from like from what they call it, Afro-Asiatic people, Semitic people, Proto-Semitic languages and so on and so on. And, the East Semitic and West Semitic, and the list goes on and on, my brothers and my sisters. Now, if you have a problem with me, then I'm going to ask you, please, you go to your Webster, you go to your Google, you go to your Wikipedia, because that's where I went and get additional sources so that I can talk to you about it. I'm not just saying something off the top of my head, that sounds good to me. I'm telling you what history and what is written. These are written information, and you can get it. You can go and search behind me, and you're going to find it. I may not say it in exact word that they have it written. I may paraphrase it, but I'm telling you where I got my sources. Okay, so don't feel bad, and and you don't go around saying that, oh, Dr. Smith is anti-Semitic, Murray, is anti-Semitic. I am not. I'm just telling you what is said enough. Because my brother, my sister, if my great grandparents, they were Semitic people, because they speak the language. They speak Aramaic and they speak Hebrew. Okay, and if I could speak fluently, I would consider myself a Semitic too, okay? But right now, I am Shemitic, okay? I am Shemitic. I am not Semitic. I am Shemitic, okay? Just want to let you know that, all right? And so there's a chronological map, okay? And the Semitic language occur in written form, and from a very early historical date in West Asia, and with East Semitic, Akkadian, and Eblate text. Okay, so the Akkadian and Eblate text All right. And when we talk about the academy, then we talk about a group of black people, okay? And they have their own texts. And so that is the language that they spoke was written from their text, okay? And it's written in a script adapted from the Sumerians, okay? The Sumerians cuneiform, right? And our ancestor, our great great grandfather Abraham was connected. He was connected with the Sumerian people because he was from that section of the world. Okay, all right. So all of this happened right around the Sumerian cuneiform appeared from about the 30th century to the 25th century in Mesopotamia and in northeastern Lebanon. Okay, the Levant are like from Turkey, Iraq, you know, Iran, and all those places are considered, and those countries are considered Levant, especially those were some of the descendant, the descendant of slaves that that are descendants of the people that I wouldn't say just slave, but people that, for instance, were taken into captivity. Like if you're taken into captivity in Babylon, and after you were free, then the children and the great grandchildren of those free Hebrew Israelite people were considered, they're living in the Levant. Some of them stayed there. Some of them, everybody didn't go back to Israel. Okay, when they were freed and they was asked to give the freedom to go back, some decided they're going to stay. So they continue to stay there, and they're still there. Okay, even though a lot of people don't recognize them, they're still there. All right. So these are children of Hebrew Israelite people that were taken into captivity, and then they stayed there. All right. Good. All right. So we said the early attested languages are Sumerian and the Elamites, and it happened around 28. That's 2800 BCE to 550 BCE, and it said both languages are both language isolates and it said an Egyptian, a sister branch of the Afro-Asiatic family related to the Semitic languages, but not part of them. Amorites appeared in Mesopotamia and in the northern Levant circa 2000 BC, and followed by mutually intelligible Canaanite languages, including Hebrew, Phoenician, Moabite, Edomite, Amorite, and perhaps Ekronite, Amalekite, and Sotian. The still spoken Aramaic and Ugaritic during the 2nd century BC. Most scripts used to write Semitic languages are what do you call it? ABJADS, abjads, and this is a type of alphabetical script that omits some or all of the vowels, which is feasible for these languages because the consonants are the primary carriers of the meaning in Semitic languages. Okay, you see, when we modern Hebrew, give you an example. Modern Hebrew has what they injected the vowels, but they don't put it like you have the A, E, I, O, U. They don't put it, and sometimes Y, okay, but they don't put it in those letters. What they do, they use little markations, okay? They put little markations under the consonant, the letter, to show what the A is, what the E is, what the I is, what the O is, and what the U is, and so on. Okay, so they put them there. But normally, the consonants would be that ancient Hebrew is written. The consonant, just consonants, all caps. And you'll understand by just reading it, you understand. Okay, you know, you learn the language, and especially if you were born into that era, that's what you come to see. It's strange because we learn English, and we have vowels and consonants, but in those days they did not have any vowels. It's over the years as the languages developed, they put those, vowels inside of them. But it said the Semitic languages that we talk about here then, so these would include the Ugaritic, Phoenician, Amharic, Hebrew, Syriac, Arabic, and ancient South Arabian. The alphabets. The Ge'ez script is used for writing Semitic languages of Ethiopia and Eritrea. And so these are technically an abojida, a modified abjad in which vowels are noted using diacritic marks and so on. The diacritic marks, we talk about that in the Hebrew, okay, but in the modern Hebrew rather. But these makes added, these marks, they are added to consonants at all times, in contrast with the other Semitic languages, which indicate vowels based on need or for introductory purposes. And we talk about the Maltese, is the only Semitic language written in the Latin script, and the only Semitic language to be an official language of the European Union. Okay, Semitic languages are notable for their non-concatenative morphology. That is, word roots are not themselves syllable or words, but instead are isolated sets of consonants, usually three, making what you call a so-called triliteral root. It says words are composed out of roots, not so much by adding prefixes and suffixes. And we see these are made by filling in vowels between root consonants, although prefixes and suffixes are often added as well. For example, in Arabic, the root meaning right has the form of KTB. I say from which, we're going to see this from this root, you're going to see words are formed by filling in the vowels and sometimes adding consonants. Example, in the Arabic word for book, okay, book. you're going to see Kitab. So where you have the K dash T dash B, you have the I, this is the vowels, right between the K and the T, and you have the A between the T and the B. So it will pronounce Kitab. And I mean, that is book, okay? And if you want to make it books, then you will have Kutub, books. And if you want to have the writer for the book, you're going to have Katib. And if you want to have writers, you're going to have Kataba. And if you want to write, if you want to have, he wrote Yaktuba. and so, so these are just examples of what is talking about there, as far as the Semitic language of books. And I mean Semitic languages, the family of languages, and how some language would break it down. Okay, so we talk about Semitic again. We say it is relating or denoting to a family of languages. My brothers and my sisters, don't let anybody lead you astray. Okay, don't let anybody lead you astray, because languages, when you talk about Semitic languages, and some people say they're Semitic people, and then we hear a lot of stuff on the news about anti-Semitism and so on and so on. This is a language. You can take it and turn it the way you want to turn it, but like I say, my brothers and sisters, don't get mad with me. You get mad with Google, get mad with Wikipedia, get mad with Webster, because they are sharing the same thought that I'm thinking. That it's not people. It don't have nothing to do with people. It has all to do with languages, the language that you speak. That's what Semitic is all about. The languages, a family of languages. So, if, like I said, if I was fluent in Hebrew, you could call me a Semitic. But I'm still African American, I'm still black. I'm still Jamaican, I'm still whatever country, I'm from, okay? Right? But I'm talking about the language, Semitic language. The word Semitic is adjective, okay? Is an adjective, right? Describing something. So it's relating to or denoting a family of languages that include Hebrew. If you speak Hebrew fluently, you're Semitic. If you speak Arabic fluently, you're Semitic. If you speak Aramaic fluently, you are Semitic. If you speak Amharic, you are Semitic. If you speak Phoenician, you are Semitic. If you speak Akkadian, you are Semitic. And they're consisting the main subgroup of Afro-Asiatic family. Okay? That's what it includes. And it's relating to the people who speak Semitic languages, especially Hebrew and Arabic. Relating or constituting to subfamily of Afro-Asiatic language family that includes Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, Amharic, And you can go on with many, many, many more. Okay? It's also relating to the characteristic of the Semites. Okay, now today we have people who designate themselves as Semites, and some of those peoples are Jewish. Okay, and we have other people who speak those languages and they consider themselves as Semites. Okay, so any or all of the Semitic languages, what is called, a Semitic person. All right. So please do not take that word and throw it around and think that by throwing it around it makes you something differently. And then these languages are broken down, and the next chance again I'm going to come back and talk about how these are broken down and how they are used and how the different religious organizations use these terms and the present day, Semitic people, how they use, and so on and so on, and the different countries. And there's a tendency to, take the languages and then, for instance, some of those languages that are not spoken today, yet in their religious texts, they would have those languages, because in some way they feel that this is a way for them to maintain or to preserve those languages. So, my brothers and my sisters, this is just about it for now, and until I come again and dealing with this subject. But remember, anti-Semitism. Now, it is wrong to treat people negatively. It is wrong. I don't care who it is wrong. Like I said, I am a Shemite, and being a Shemite, I am a descendant from Shem. I am a descendant from Shem, and nobody gonna take that from me and from my family. That's how we were brought up learning that, knowing that. And for those of you who don't know, my great grandmother, she came directly from Ghana and was a slave girl. My great grandmother, she was a slave girl in Jamaica, and served 9 years. My understanding, 9 years, as an indentured servant. Okay, and later on, her daughter, and they were Maroons. Okay, also they were Maroons. Okay, and her daughter also married to which is my grandmother, and her name was Blanche, and my great grandmother was Maria. My grandmother was Blanche, and Maria had married to also a Maroon. Okay, so she raised her children and she raised them up in the fear and in nurture and admonition of Yahuwah and taught them. So my understanding is that my grandmother, my great grandmother, could speak Hebrew and she could also speak Aramaic. I don't know if she understands Arabic or Amharic. I don't know if she, but those two, we know that. Okay, so we know that I could refer to my great grandmother as a Semite because she spoke the language, and I also refer to her as a Shemite because she was a descendant of Abraham. Okay, coming down. All right. So, my brothers and my sisters, I'm going to ask you to be a blessing to someone today and walk with the King. Shalom.